All right, well, we're live. Hey everyone, this is Kevin, the Apptrepreneur, and it is almost midnight right now. It is almost midnight. And here we are doing a live stream. There probably will not be anyone online to watch this. If there are, it's going to be a very few amount of people. However, when I looked on YouTube, because I'm having a hard time sleeping right now, I looked on YouTube and I saw a lot of people were live streaming. A lot of people I've subscribed to anyway. And maybe it's just that kind of day where a lot of people just can't sleep and you don't know whether your friends or your family are up. So what do? You go online to visit your online friends to rant, to discuss the universe, whatever. But it's just been a very, very surreal day and a very surreal um, week. Hey, online with Air JDN. How are you? Hi, Happy Lawson. Hi, Ephraim. Hey, we've got 16 people joining us at this late hour at night. How crazy. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the first two topics relatively. Hey, Tony. Okay, Tony, you're up. Huh, I should have called you. Chris, haven't seen you in a while. And hi, Anthony. How you doing? So a couple things have happened. Well, a couple things. I don't even know why I said that. That's like, I mean that would have. Oh, I don't know. Tony, you work at a grocery store. Like, I don't know. Does it feel like the end of the world yet? I don't know. Zombie apocalypse without the zombies. Yeah, I'm. The C virus is certainly getting. Here's the thing that made it real for me. Um, Apparently, and I can't verify this because my driver account is not active, but I saw some other Uber tubers talking about it, one of which showed this to happen. So it's certainly a possibility, but apparently Uber's app was down for a good portion of the day. And the other thing that happened, which really hits me home, is the theaters officially have all gone dark. Regal and AMC, if Cinemark hasn't joined them, I'm sure they're going to at some point. They're all dark right now. There's no more movies. Me and my wife did see a double feature on Sunday. We saw The Girl with the Portrait on Fire, which had like two people in there because I guess nobody wanted to see a French film about a lesbian couple on a Sunday. And then afterwards, just to show how we really go all over the place, we saw I Still Believe in IMAX. Um, yeah. Yeah, we went to see a faith-based film in IMAX. I didn't even know. That kind of shows how little they had to pick from. That was what was on their screen. But yeah, I told my wife that's probably the last movie we're going to see in theaters for a little while, and I was right in more ways than one because I didn't realize it just wouldn't even be an option. And on top of that, Universal announced, hey, like Invisible Man, Emma, some of these movies we had wanted to see in theaters, they're going to come to streaming on Friday. And Trolls World Tour is going to have day and date, which means theaters, if there's any open at the time, and streaming. And it's like, what is going on? Then I hear the Uber app is down in some areas, not all areas. And here's the thing. One of the topics that I want to discuss, there's just so much to discuss about this right now, is whether or not Uber and Lyft should keep the apps on. I'm definitely leaning towards they shouldn't. I'll make a separate video about that, but it's like, wow, it really feels like, oh, you're in Dana Point. Boy, Dana Point's not too far from, well, it's about an hour, so, I guess it's a little far, but it kind of feels like the world is stopping. It really feels like the world is stopping. And hey, star ears, star ears. That's an interesting name. Um, yeah, NYC. I hear that's especially slow. And and here's the thing. I'm not as scared about it as I probably should be. In the, but I do have some concerns. Right now, here's my biggest concern, and this is where like the late night. Yes, Jesus is the way. It it does, and everyone keeps playing the darn toilet paper. Yeah, the toilet paper is should be no one's concern right now. Um, Disney announced today that they'll be streaming upcoming movies on their channel on the same day they would premiering. I don't think they made that. Um, they didn't make that announcement. If they did, I didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure they didn't make that announcement. Universal made that announcement because Trolls is DreamWorks. But anyway, here's like right now my biggest concern. I don't necessarily mind being a shut-in for a long period of time. I mean, I'll mind it, but I'll get over it. There's a lot of things I can do at home. I can catch up on some shows I never watched. I can watch some movies. I can write scripts for that Criterion show that I want to do on my now new failed journalist channel that I've been wanting to do for like a year. I could read some books. I could spend some time with the wife. I could call people and just talk to them. I can do that. Here's where starts getting a little tricky. I'm actually in like a really awkward work situation. That's great, and this is the one thing about this whole thing that's freaking me out a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say where I'm doing this work. You should never do that if you have a YouTube channel. Never tell anyone your address, where you work. Don't hint about where you work. However, I think I can word this in a way where I can tell you the situation without it jeopardizing anything. Now, first things first, my wife, here's the thing. I, thankfully, am actually pretty healthy. I went to the doctor today, not because I was feeling sick, but I wanted to get a note for something. Anyway, I did a physical, and my numbers are great. They are really great. I mean, they'd like me to lose another 15 pounds, which something tells me I'm going to lose it because we're going to be rationing food soon. Um, well, I was feeling pretty good. Now, I was apparently extremely healthy. Now, this is normally good news. For this purpose, it um, be, might not be great. See, here's the thing. If I get the C virus, I'm pretty sure I will get better because I'm pretty healthy. It will suck for a couple weeks, but I will get better. My wife has Crohn's disease, though. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. She has Crohn's. That means she has a weaker immune system, which means if she gets it, she could be one of those people who needs to be in the ICU, of which the beds are rapidly running out of. So it is super, super important to me that I don't get it and I don't bring it home. Now, I have to talk a little bit about YouTube money for a minute, and I'm not asking for any. This is just a reality. Ever since the YouTube earnings have dropped, and they've dropped significantly, not saying it's anyone's fault, that's just the fact of the matter. I have taken on extra work to supplement that income. That's fine. Hey, it happens sometimes. I'm not the only YouTuber who does that. Thankfully, it still brings in some money, but it's not bringing in what it used to. Maybe that'll change one day. Maybe it'll change now. I certainly have a heck of a lot more time to make videos, but let me, well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So the company that I am working for, I do like working for this company. I want to make that clear. I like this job. I'm good at it. It's also, I also do it at a warehouse where temporary workers come in all the time. all the time. And, well, again, if I got the C virus, I'd probably get better. But because my wife would definitely be in big trouble, it is very important that I don't get it. Right now, there's a conflict going on at the workplace that, unfortunately, management, well, higher up management, there's a lot of management who disagrees with this, but unfortunately, the two people that make the calls do not believe in working from home. In fact, they are going, they are actually denying people's requests to work from home, which is frustrating. It is extremely frustrating. And the reason I went to the doctor's office today was I was hoping that the doctor could give me a note that says I have to work from home based on this breakout. Hopefully, um, they take my wife's feelings and history into consideration. My wife got the note from her doctor that says she has to work from home. The doctor has told me that because I am very healthy, there's unfortunately no justification to write a note that says I would be more at risk than others if I got it. And since my doctor is not my wife's doctor, they can't write a note, confirming or, concurring with her doctor. Different medical plans. There was a mix up after we got married. We'll both be on the same plan by the end of the year. So, what's been stressing me out a little bit right now is my I can't necessarily afford to not work for these people right now. I just can't. I mean, it was great when it was optional. I could leave, but since the YouTube earnings have dropped quite a bit, I'm more depending on them than I was before. And yet they're putting me in a bad position because, well, yeah, they don't want anyone to work from home. They don't want anyone to work from home, even though there's nothing I'm doing there that says you, well, can't do it from home. There's no reason why I couldn't do it from home, but they don't want to do it. So that's kind of the main thing that's been keeping me up. I mean, within the span of 3 days, we went from, yeah, it's a nice fireplace, I know. We went from you shouldn't be in crowds of 250, then you shouldn't be in crowds of 50. Now it's you shouldn't be in crowds of 10. I mean, at one point, we're going to get to like get in your house and stay in your house. So now, the only, what's, I mean, I was losing my mind about this yesterday. Like, I couldn't believe that it wasn't even being considered. Although, now that the thing is, with how it's escalating, shoot, they might have to let me do this from home. Like, what other choice are they having at this point? I, yeah, this is, so that's my big concern. It's not the locking myself up for, potentially a month or two, that would suck, but I would live with it. I mean, I'm pretty good at being self-reliant in that situation, but it's in fact, here's the thing, I will gladly do it if it will help slow down the virus. I will do my part, but this is where people get stuck. If I'm sure that if we could have like a solid, hey, it's just a couple weeks, I think most people because most people are good. Well, most people aren't jerks anyway. And most people like to live. We would just hunker down and we'd get this thing contained and taken care of fast. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, there are some people who unfortunately don't care and they would go out anyway, but then you have companies where it's like and here's the thing, I understand they want to make money, but here's the thing. Some of them need to understand that unless, because this is not, I don't work for a grocery store by any stretch of the imagination. What this company does is not essential to the public good. But, you know, they consider themselves essential. I mean, I'm actually seeing firsthand how ugly it can get. I mean, granted, we're in uncharted territory right now. This has never happened before. I just never. But I actually kind of feel like, have you ever watched one of those action movies where this supervisor comes in? It's usually a cop, and the whole point of that character is to just make every wrong decision just to create conflict for the main character. I actually find that very annoying, even in movies I really like Die Hard. The chief lieutenant comes in, and his only job is to get in John McClane's way, and he never actually helps. And I remember like not the Robert Duvall, the Ray Liotta character from John Q. Like he had that thing too. Like Robert Duvall's trying to negotiate with Denzel Washington to calm him down, and Ray Liotta is doing everything he can to sabotage that. So I kind of look at this company situation. It's like, man, I kind of feel like that right now. So I I don't know. You know, it's also interesting. I was talking with like another Uber tuber today because that's what you do. You call people, I guess. And well, apparently the airport queues are pretty filled right now. Like seriously, there are Uber and Lyft drivers who are so desperate for money. They actually want to pick people up from the airport. Like wow. Lydia stock below Uber's. I'm pretty sure you meant Lyft stock. Yeah, that's another video I want to talk about. Like Uber and Lyft stock, my gosh, tanked. They are in so much trouble, and unfortunately, I know people who I like, and some people who I don't like, who invested in the IPOs of both companies, and I told people, don't do this. Now, granted, I didn't expect this to happen clearly, but I said, look, you are very unlikely to make that money back. Wait a year or something. So, what, whatever. But here's the thing. If you Lyft stock was $87 at the IPO, it is now, I think it's less than 20 now. If you invested in the stock in the IPO, honestly, I think your chances of getting your money back are pretty darn slim. Pretty darn slim. So, Uber, I don't know. Here's the thing. I will say, full disclosure, I did sell my Uber stock. When the market started crashing in general, I actually sold a lot of my stocks and I rebought them later at much cheaper prices. But the Uber stock, I kind of decided not really in the mood to rebuy that one. So, I mean, yeah, if you have Uber and Lyft stock, you might as well hold on to them. I mean, they're so low that honestly, you might as well take the chance or not they whether or not it goes up or not, because I'm sure it will go back up a little bit when this whole thing is over, but it's going to hurt for a while. That said, if Uber gets to be $5 a share, what the heck? I might just put $100 into it, just just because. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like it's almost worth the risk. Although although I don't know. So um, ever since I saw the poor acting job of the Iranian guy when it started, I knew what I don't know what that means, but whatever. So there's a moth flying around this room, and I want to kill it, but I'm online with you guys. So anyway, yeah, this is just like I said, very surreal day, very surreal week. moth is bothering me. Oh, so go. So close. Ah, got him. Got him. I'm sorry. I know moths are harmless, but they get around. So they get around. Um, Remember when you risked cash a movie pass stock? Just saying, well, yeah, but that was that was a risk I was willing to take, and it didn't work out. But more often than not, my risks like have worked out. So there, so there you go. But yeah, Movie Pass. And one of the reasons that I stuck it out with Movie Pass was because years ago I bought Netflix stock when it tanked, and I said, "Oh, it's cheap enough that it's worth buying." I bought it, and then I really wasn't prepared. It got as low as like $15, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose the money." And granted, it wasn't a lot at the time, so I sold the stock, and boy, did they rebound. So I am invested in Netflix now, and Netflix is one of the few stocks that seem to be holding their own. But um, I kind of like looked at Movie Pass as like, well, even though it might not come back, what if it does? It's so cheap right now. So hey Jimmy, how you doing? Um, like FTW, the reason we're pretty much on lockdown is because of how fast it's spreading. I mean, and we don't have a cure for it, and it's killing people. I mean, it it's actually I mean, look, if you go to like the World Health Organization website, like, and you go by states, like, I mean, I know it's like still not super prevalent, but like this thing spreads if someone breathes on you, you can catch it. So, and it's, I mean, it's not what it is now, it's what it can become that has people really concerned about this. I mean, we had 900 new cases today. Yesterday we had a couple hundred. The cases just keep going up and up and up. We have had worse viruses come along the last 10 years. Well, here's well, look, I've heard that, but you have to keep this in mind. Like things like SARS and stuff, they didn't spread rapidly. They were deadly, but they didn't go very far. This is going very far, and and hey, Italy had a very similar attitude as some of you in this chat room have right now. Like, oh, it's just like the flu, and the flu kills more people, and it's like, yeah, and now they're on lockdown, and they don't have enough doctors or medicine, and people are dying like crazy. Italy's fatality rate has been way higher than most countries, so it does kill people. Um, yeah, the medical masks I hear um, don't do what people think they will. Washing hands does, but ultimately the best way to yeah, AMC went down. But yeah, it's just and here's the thing: if this is all fake, I'm not gonna go and that even entertain that right now because I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos of the hospitals. But the thing is, if it is fake, well, guess what? We'll vote all of those jerks out of power then. So, um, yeah, the N95 mask. That's really the mask that would help. But good luck getting those. Good luck getting those. But really, if you're not going to leave the house much anyway, why would you need them at this point? So you can't vote them out of power when you're in martial law state. Well, but the elections are very unlikely to be delayed. So yeah, you can't hide a lie for you can't hide a lie forever, and that's. I mean, if this was a lie, you would think that they would do it around November so that it have an excuse to cancel the election. Now I know some primaries have been delayed, but they're still probably going to happen. If this thing is still going on in a few months, then you know. But I mean, I I am definitely assuming that it's real. Um, so yeah, well, someone will someone will off you for an iPhone. These people are yeah, whatever. I'm not getting into that. I the virus I believe is very real. I have no reason to doubt it's real. I have no reason to doubt whatsoever. So, and if it isn't real, well, then okay, whatever. But I'll figure out what to do at that point. But it's like one of the problems is that I do believe one of the problems with this is the media. The media hypes up so many things as being life or death for a lot of situations that have not become death. Now, it's always more complicated than that. Take Y2K, for example. Y2K was a real problem. It could have done a lot of damage, but they caught it early enough and they fixed it. And when 2000 came, I think some ATMs stopped working as well as a couple gas stations, but that was really about it. But for months, the media was hyping things up like this is the end of the world, stock up on food, learn to cook over a fire, everything like that. But it didn't happen. Then you have SARS and those other viruses. Were they lethal? Yes, they were very lethal. Probably more lethal than this thing was, but it didn't spread very fast. And so, same thing was the avian flu. It did damage, but it didn't do the catastrophic damage that the media promised it would. So basically, they're calling wolf the whole time, although there's been a kernel of truth in every situation. So now we're at this thing, and this C virus thing. But doctors seem to agree that this is the real thing. Economics are concerned. The World Health Organization has pretty much said this is a problem. We have other countries who are doing very similar things. If this was just, because keep in mind, countries don't work together. If it was just America who was like trying to cancel the election, why is Italy and China and South Korea freaking out? Like they have nothing to do. They don't have anything to gain if Trump stays in power. It's a silly theory to have. But and yeah, Chris said that says that she saw one of her friends works in the ER and people are dying. So now it's like this. It seems real this time. It seems very very real. However, because the media has basically cried wolf one too many times, you have a lot of people who don't believe it. Geez, I don't even know why people would make things like this up. Um, but people will not believe anything. Um, like there's still people who believe we haven't landed on the moon, which is like really, and some people who believe that Elvis is alive, even though if he was alive, he'd be 90 something years old at this point. So people will believe what they want to believe. Oh yeah, and then there's that crazy YouTube host whose name I can't remember. I actually can, but I don't want to say, who honestly believes that the kids shot in the Sandy Hook shooting weren't really killed and they're actually hiding somewhere. So I'm just appalled by what people will believe sometimes. So here's the bottom line. Um, People are getting sick. That's, you can't dispute that. The hospitals aren't overrun for no reason. So, you know, but Australian media covered their fires before ours. Yeah, yeah, and the Australian fires, that's another reason why people don't trust the media. I mean, the fires are bad, but when you statistically look at what's going on right now with the fires compared to other years, they were no worse than the previous 10 years. I mean, that's still a problem. I'd prefer there to be no fires, but, you know, there you go. So, anyway, I think I'm actually getting. Um, you don't see overrun hospitals. Well, how many hospitals do you go to? I mean, unless you've actually stepped into the inside the hospital, you wouldn't know. So, but anyway, I don't know why people are buying the toilet paper. No, that's like the strangest thing about all this, because it's like I think the food would be more important, but people want their comfort. What can I say? So anyway, I'm getting tired. We're gonna pretty much end this. And we have. It's nice to be making videos again. That's for certain. And well, live long and oh, sorry, it's hard to do it with my wedding ring. Live long and prosper, and flame responsibly. Have a good one.